What about new friends? Is it like a no new friends sort of category when you are experiencing these sorts of symptoms? Or how can you make new friends? Like, is that something that I've seen people talk about, like losing friends? So if people are losing friends that they've already had, imagine how it might feel or how we might approach trying to make new friends.
Have you tried yoga? Maybe you should see a psychologist. Are you stressed? Change your diet. Acupuncture. Try stretching. Sleep? You've been doing so well. Stop stressing. Anxiety. Functional? Functionality.
Functionality.
Welcome to the Functionality Podcast. I'm your host, Tausha. How are y'all functioning? The tea of the day is Lotus tea by the Black Leaf Tea and Culture Shop. It has sweetened dried pineapple, sweetened dried mango, and jasmine dragon pearls. It is a wonderful morning cup of freshness that I love. So if you want, go check them out. The question of the day is, what's the tea on FND and friendship? Friends. How many of us have them? Friends. Ones we can depend on. I'm just playing. So I mentioned briefly about how social I am. I used to be much more social than I am now. I was a lot more extroverted, and now I guess I would put myself in the introverted category. But I think that's only because I used to have access to people daily. So then I was just allowed to be the social person that I actually can be. So being around peers in school and being around coworkers every day, if you're around those people every day, then you can form more of a bond with them. But as far as like seeking out new friends or seeking out hanging out opportunities and social opportunities, that's not really my jam. But I do have friends and need friends and appreciate the friends that I do have. So when it comes to what I've experienced as far as having FND, or as far as experiencing symptoms of FND when it comes to my friendships, I don't do well as far as like leaning on people. And that means that I don't really do well as far as opening up and letting my friends kind of know what's going on. So I'll just kind of disappear a little bit. But I know that my friends understand. I have two best friends that I've had since I was in middle school and high school. And so they know me and know that at the end of the day, I love them to death and it's nothing personal. And I'm obviously going through something or whatever. And then I will get in contact with them when everything's good and it'll be fine. Or get in contact with them at some later date when I'm feeling better. And that's great to have them. But what about new friends? Is it like a no new friends sort of category when you are experiencing these sorts of symptoms? Or how can you make new friends? Like, is that something that I've seen people talk about, like losing friends? So if people are losing friends that they've already had, imagine how it might feel or how we might approach trying to make new friends. I actually do want more friends, believe it or not, because I realize that I should be more social, and I realize that I've been taking care of Mommy Junior for the last 8 years, and I am kind of ready to blossom for myself, and that's what this podcast is also doing, is just something for me so that I can have something for me. But I need friends that will understand. Um, I know there's this post that circulates and saying that I need friends that don't understand that I'm going to like fall off the face of the earth sometimes, but I'm never forgetting about them, just like I mentioned about my best friends just now. And so that's solid. But how do you know like a new friend would be as understanding? How do you know that a new friend would not take things personally? And of course, that only comes with trial and error, or with just putting that person, the other person, the new friend in the situation. But if it's a struggle for me to like drive to places outside of like the grocery store, and if it's a struggle for me to find balance in my home, then where do you fit in friends? And so it's like I have to fill up my cup, and I'm continuing to try to survive, but at the same time my social life is over here like, yo, you please don't forget about me. We kind of want to be social. So I made a friend. It's one of the moms from Mommy Junior's Girl Scouts, and she's a riot. She's fantastic. She's so fun. However, I didn't know how to tell her. I didn't know how to tell her what I experienced. I didn't know what to say. And so then she invited me she invited me out. I went one time, managed to make it out because it was very, very close to my house, literally like point 7 miles from my house, like close, close. And so I made it out then, but then since then, have I made it? No. Have I done anything? No. And there's always like hints from her, like, hey, we should do this, we should hang out, we should do that. And I still have barely told her. So that's the difficulty that comes in when it comes to friendship. It's like, how do I tell you this without it being something that you're going to run away from, or without it being something that you automatically are going to think is going to become a hindrance or a burden? Because I do sometimes feel that it's like burdensome because I will miss out on things. You will miss out on things. And so that's difficult in a new friendship where you're trying to build trust and you're trying to build loyalty and you're trying to show that you are going to show up. But what if you can't always show up? How will a new friend take that? So I really didn't even attempt to get close. Though I wanted to, I didn't so much attempt to get close. And it kind of bothers me. I want to work on it. Last time I did see her, because obviously we see each other at the Girl Scout events. Last time I saw her, I told her, hey, I'm starting a podcast and it's going to be on my chronic illness. And so that was the first step for me. But then it's like, I don't want to just sit around and talk about that. But how do you get to know someone or actually build a relationship, a friendship with someone, unless you actually let them know who you are and what's going on with you? And I'm on the like the tail end of that phase of actually trying to find that out for myself. So if I'm still learning who I am and what this is and what my life looks like for myself, I can't really so much tell someone else. So it's a little bit difficult. FND and friendship can be difficult. If it's someone new, if it's someone who hasn't known you for a while prior to FND or kind of met you right when you were starting to experience these things, they might not understand. I do have a friend here and she's wonderful. Shout out to Lexi. Go check her out at Crazy Creations by Lexi on Instagram. But she's wonderful and she was a previous coworker, and so even though I'm not working, we don't work together anymore. We still keep in contact. But she lives like an hour and 45 minutes away. So that's like awful. That's awful. So any of the times that I've seen her, pretty much since COVID hit, she's come to me. Now that's a wonderful friend, like lover, 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 lover. But like imagine how that could feel to a friend who like doesn't want to put that much effort into a friendship. She's great. She'll text me and then I like don't respond for like 2 weeks and then I respond and she'll just respond right back. And she never says like, hey, how come you are a trashy friend? So I appreciate that. But I want to hang out with her. We always talk about hanging out, and it's just that my body is rarely ever ready to do that if it was a spontaneous thing. And then if it's something that we plan, we kind of don't know how to plan around things. So it makes it difficult, especially if it's something that you have to buy a ticket to or if it's a vacation you're trying to plan. I said before that I want to live with the disease on my terms or the disorder on my terms, but sometimes it takes over more than I want it to. Plus, I just told y'all I only drive 10 miles from home. So can you imagine me driving that far? Even if we met halfway, that's going to be more than that 10 miles round trip. And so that in itself is an additional piece of anxiety, an additional factor that I have to factor in. Okay, let me check off a spoon or three for driving to the event. Let me check off 5 spoons for being at the event. Let me check off 2 spoons for socializing with friends. I'm out. How do I get home? See, like it really, those kind of things really are things that I factor in. That's really my thought processes. And then when I have to just say, no thanks, I can't come, or I'll have to see, because it really is like an I'll have to see. And I want to be planned out. I want to be able to be reliable. I want to be able to be somebody that can show up for someone. But it's not as easy as it sounds. It's definitely not as easy as it sounds. But I don't want you to give up on having friends. I do not want you to give up on having friends. And with that being said, I have 3 tips. As always, tip number 1 for FND and friendship is to be honest. You have to be honest. And I just said that I kind of wasn't, but I ended up being honest, and she didn't even take it hard. She was like, "Oh, tell me more about this chronic illness." So, a lot of times we talk ourselves out of what could be potential friendships or relationships or work situations, employment opportunities, any kind of opportunities, just because we're trying to hold ourselves back or we're allowing the disorder to hold ourselves back. And just be honest. Honestly, just be honest, because the people and the opportunities that are supposed to be for you will be for you regardless of who you are, and they will be there for you for exactly who you are and what you're going through. So this is a little bit of a sensitive topic. I chose not to be in my best friend's wedding. It's in September, and we talked in December, so about 6 months ago, and she was asking, do you want to be a bridesmaid? I want you to, but I don't want to put too much on you. And at first, I'm like, yeah, duh, I want to be a bridesmaid. I will definitely do it. I would do anything for your special day, which I would. But as I thought about it more, and as I got back into flares, as I started experiencing different symptoms in these last 6 months, and then even as things started to happen as far as get preparation for the wedding, and I realized like I wasn't keeping up, I just had to tell myself that I would rather enjoy the moment than to be miserable and try to push through to make her day perfect. I'm absolutely going to be there. I don't really care. Me and my body will be there with whatever mobility aids I need, with whatever medicine I need, with whatever assistance I need. I will absolutely be at her wedding. But actually participating and standing up, standing up in her wedding. I just no, because no, I went to my grandfather's birthday party this past weekend, and I it was a struggle, to say the least. I had to push and fight through, so I wasn't able to enjoy as much as I wanted to. And I don't want that to be the same situation if we're in the middle of the ceremony or at the preparation and pictures and everything. And I'm like, yo, you guys, I need to sit down. I need to take a rest. I need this and that. I would rather just be there and watch her fully enjoy her moment and be like, hey, I'm right by your side as your best friend, and I'm doing the best friend things so that I can be there as much as I can. And that's just being honest. That's absolutely being honest. And guess what? She completely understood. Of course, she said she's disappointed and it hurts. Of course it does. But I think she would rather me be honest. So she understands, and she knows because we chat, and you have to just be honest. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, take advantage of the technology that we have in place in order to continue to maintain your friendships or to build your friendships. You might not be able to make it out. You might not be able to make it to the party. You might not be able to make it to the graduation. You might not be able to make it to the baby shower. However, we have so much technology in place that allows us to still take a part in different events and to show that we care and show that we're thinking about it. Zoom, social media, texting, even an actual phone call, all of those things will show a person that though I'm not physically able to be with you, I care about you, I love you, and I value the relationship, the friendship that we have. So I'm not even going to act like I'm just giving this tip just for anybody else. I'm giving this tip for myself because I don't do it as much as I should, because often I'm struggling to get through the day. Plus parenting, plus being a partner, plus being a daughter. But I want to. I have every desire. I think about it several times a week, and I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to get better at responding quicker. I'm trying to get better at checking in first. I'm trying to get better at saying, hey, I miss you. I want to see your face. FaceTime me, video chat me, whatever you have, however you can do it, WhatsApp call, all these different things make it possible. So take advantage of it. Absolutely take advantage of it, because people do want to hear from us, and most of us are on our phones all day any day anyway. So I know that some days I don't want to be seen. Some days a video call, a phone call even is not going to happen. So I might not be a big video chat, FaceTime. I don't have an iPhone, you guys, so I don't FaceTime. But I might not be a big video call, Zoom kind of person. However, I would love to record a video when I am feeling okay or when I'm in the moment and then just sending it. And then that way we can kind of see each other back and forth. That's something that I started with my friends, and I love it. I love to be able to see my friends' faces. I love to be able to see them laugh and just see them talk and hear their voices. However, oh my gosh, I am not the type. I'm not the type. Please don't randomly call me. I don't do well. Sorry. I don't really do well with random phone calls. Ooh. Um I know I'm not alone because I've seen it all over the introvert pages and TikTok and whatnot. But I mean, if we're texting and then you're like, hey, I'm going to give you a call, if you're my friend and if we're already kind of in conversation, I might be okay with that. But it's not even just friends. Like, my dad can call and I'll be like, whoa, wasn't expecting that. I don't know what it is. I'm just sometimes if I'm like struggling, I don't have it in me to um put on a face or put on like I'm a okay voice or have carry on an actual conversation. If I'm just like laying around, I'm just like, you can't just randomly call me because right now I'm laying on my heating pad and I've been here all day and I don't have the spoons. But we'll appreciate the call. We totally will. I will. I do appreciate the call and I do return the call eventually. So that's another thing. If you can set up with those friends and let them know, hey, if you call me, I might not answer. Probably won't answer. Likely won't answer. But I'm going to call you back. I will. I'll call you back and it will be appreciated. And along that same vein is just because we might not be able to make it to the event, it doesn't mean that we don't want to be invited. We do. We still do want to be invited because it lets us know that you still care about us and still want us to be at the things and haven't given up on us. We haven't given up on ourselves, and it makes us feel good to know that maybe we might be able to try to make it to this event. We might have missed the last three, but I'm coming to this one. I want to try this one. So that's kind of how I factor out things. I mean, even I went to a graduation a few weeks ago and I sat through the graduation, had to stand up halfway through because the chairs were awful. Um, and then after the standing, then my legs were floaty. And so then after that was the graduation party. And so I got home and I was like, okay, I'm just going to lay down for a little bit on my heating pad. No, that was it. That was it. So I got to the graduation, but not the graduation party. But it was family, but there's no love lost because they understand, oh well, at least she did what she could do. And so that's how I feel like please invite us because we will do what we can do. We don't not want to come there. That desire is always there. It just constantly, we're just struggling to survive and we don't know how it's going to be on the day that the event comes up. Tip number 3 is find you a community. If you do not have community of spoonies, if you do not have a community of people who have like experiences, similar experiences, same or similar diagnoses, you played yourself. But no, for real, you need to find a community because we need each other. I remember in some of my darkest of times last year, I would scroll through Instagram because that's all of the energy that I had. That's the only thing I could do was just scroll. And I'm over here like sad, miserable feeling about myself. Like, how is this my life that everybody's having a good time and they're laughing out there in the kitchen, out in the living area, and I'm in this bed in the dark. And the only thing I can do is scroll through Instagram. But then as I'm scrolling and there's community members, pages, and posts saying, we know it gets hard, but don't give up. You're doing your best. It's okay to rest. Or making some sort of dark humor meme or something. It makes me feel like I am not alone. And that's what we feel, I would say very often, is that we're just alone. So if you have community, you can fill in some of those gaps for the people who don't understand fully. Even the closest people to you don't understand fully. So there's things that we need from other people who experience the same that are going to bridge some of those gaps. I have some people that I chat with on social media They are a hoot, and I love it. I love when they post. I love their sense of humor. I know a lot of us, we have our sense of humor because we've gone through so much pain and so much tests and so much everything, so much situations. But the fact that there's someone else out there that also goes through it and can continue to make a joke, that can continue to have a smile on their face. I love that I can find that happiness and I can find that sort of peace and understanding through others. And then even when I see others struggling and it might be a day that I'm not struggling, then I reach out as well and I'm like, you can do this, warrior. Just take it a day at a time. You are strong, you are loved, you are this and that, and building each other up. We do that. That's the community that you need. So if you're feeling down and out, if you're feeling like, what do I do? I just got this FND diagnosis. I don't know anybody. I've never heard of this. I don't know where to turn. Find a community. You can find communities on Facebook. There's plenty. Type in FND in groups. You will have so many to choose from. And then also Instagram, you can type in hashtag FND, functional neurological disorder. You can find people there. That's how I found people, and I don't regret it for an instant. And that's part of the reason that I started this podcast to begin with. One, I had never heard of the disorder. So if I had never heard of it, there's people coming up behind me that have also never heard of it and need somewhere to turn. And two, I definitely don't see enough people that look like me talking about this. Even after I found my community, I don't see enough people that look like me. So I want to be a voice and a face of just saying, hey, it can happen to you. It can. And where do you turn? What do you do? How do you handle that? How are you going to be able to be an overcomer through that? And I want to be help with that. I want to be a resource when it comes to that. And then three, because I need it. I'm creating this community just as much for myself as I am for anybody else. And I've heard that if you need someone or something, then the chances are that other people will have that same need. So if I have the capabilities, which I do, if I have the potential, which I do, I'm going to utilize that potential that I have to serve whatever purpose that I am supposed to serve. And for now, I just want to reach people and I just want to be real. I'm going to be real. I'm going to post behind the scenes of recordings and just any sorts of things just to be real, to show that it's not always pretty. I'm hurting right now. I'm hurting. I am. But I'm pushing through because I have a message to give and I want to make impact, and that's what I've said. And I will do an entire episode on community. However, I've also seen that the thought that your internet friends will support you sometimes more than your family and your real life friends, and that's just truth. That's just the truth. So at this point, reach out to those people if you don't have anybody close to you. And there's no excuse not to have someone to talk to because, again, there's so much availability with technology and connection of people around the entire globe. So send me a message if you want to connect with someone. Send me a message if you don't know where to turn. I will connect you with someone. I absolutely want to be a resource. I want to hear from you. What have you done as far as it comes to your friendships? What types of tips and advice do you have that you can give to others? And I can't wait to hear from you because I'm ready to make some new friends from this. This would be so great to have some people collaborate with me and to give their own perspectives from on different weeks and on different topics. So that's all for today on FND and friendship. Can't wait to hear from some of you, and I can't wait for the next episode. Till next time, be intentional, be faithful, and be humble.